as you guys know, I'm a big fan of discovering things, especially if it was discovered unintentionally. And that's how I discovered this technique. So a lot of you guys know, actually, I don't think I've told anyone on this channel, but I take acting classes now. And it's not because I want to be some Hollywood actor, just because one, it's really good to learn empathy. It's really good to be in touch with your body and your emotions. And two, I've taken an acting class before in college, but man, the professor's a little bit of an alcoholic. Actually, she was a very big alcoholic. So we actually missed two classes because she canceled them because she got drunk midday. So I always felt like I didn't get the full experience. And so the reason I decided on this acting class was because it was the same acting methodology. It's based on Uta Hagen. For those of you, just a very brief aside, most acting schools, especially in an acting course you might take in colleges, they are based on Uta Hagen. Uta Hagen was sort of a student slash an interpreter, I guess is the better way, of Stanislavski. Stanislavski is probably the most famous acting coach, so you might heard of the Stanislavski method. Now, most people, when they think Stanislavski method, they're not actually learning Stanislavski. They're learning Uta Hagen's interpretation, or Uta Hagen's, whatever you call it, writings on Stanislavski. So anyways, back to this. There's something from, whether it's from Uta Hagen or from the Stanislavski method, that's amazing for one's mindfulness practice. And that's what I wanted to share today. So, for those of you who've ever studied cinema or studied any type of, especially television or camera-based acting, you'll know that they rarely do things sequentially. The reason is because, let's say we have a location and there are multiple scenes in that location. Let's knock all the scenes out there, right? So you don't usually film sequentially because that would just be too much of a budget. It would take longer. So instead, let's say this room, we have a scene in the beginning of the movie and a scene at the end of the movie in this room right here. Well, we're going to film that, both of those scenes. So because of that, you have to get into character. You have to, if you're filming the beginning scene and then the end scene in this room, everything's changed between those scenes because you're not doing it sequentially. So this is why actors use this technique. But for me, beyond just learning this technique for any future acting, it's really, really helpful for mindfulness. So I'll just explain to you guys what this technique is. It's called the moment before. So literally, you're just thinking about what you just did before. So what was I doing before? Now, if you really wanted to overthink this, obviously your temporal reference frame can be different, right? Moment before could have been, what was I doing a second before? Well, what was I doing a second before? I was literally just recording this vlog, right? What was I doing a minute before? Well, I was setting up to record this vlog. Or you can think, what was I doing maybe an hour before? I cooked my own dinner. I was eating my dinner, right? So if you overthink it, you can really do that. But the fact that you are thinking about this is good. Why this relates to mindfulness is, how can you remind yourself to be present if you don't think about the past? It's the funniest contradiction, right? The mindfulness, the woo-woo, the meditation community is always like, this moment, here. But as we know, time's advancing. So how can you focus on the here if you don't at least have a reference frame? So I find this so useful because sometimes I just stop for a second and I think about what I was just doing. By thinking about what I was just doing, I get to now be in the present. It's the funniest thing to get you out of your head and into the present. Think about just the immediate past. So for those of you who want to practice mindfulness, or for those of you who are looking for other ways to practice mindfulness, this is a cool technique. Just think about the moment before. And if you want to really play with it, play with the temporal. Redefine in your head, what is the moment before? So, okay, what were you doing an hour before? What were you doing a day before? A day before probably doesn't fit this criteria, but like, give it a few hours. Okay, what were you doing right? So that's basically what I've been doing. I have all these meditation apps on my phone and I should be using them more. But honestly, the best present moment thing, besides remembering to breathe, which I don't do sometimes, is to think about the moment before. So even today, I was walking. Of course, as you guys know, I've been battling anxiety for the past year. And sometimes if you think about the moment before, gets you out of your head a little so you're not thinking about the anxiety, right? What was I doing the moment before? I was walking, I passed by this street. You can think about the details of it, think about the emotions of it. So, yeah, this is a very powerful thing. And I just wanted to explain this to you guys because, especially as a younger kid, when I started learning how to meditate from my dad, I could understand what present moment was. It's like he always said, focus on your breath or focus on your Kegel exercises or something. But it's hard to go from that and really appreciate what focusing on the present moment means. So that's my little tip or whatever, the lesson I learned recently. Think about the moment before and get as close to the present, but not exactly the present as possible. Because again, your present becomes the past immediately, right? So think about the immediate right before. What were you doing? So guys, that's perfect time. Leave a comment. What were you doing moment before? What were you doing before you found this video? You could say what you were watching before. What video were you watching? Or if you want to go a little bit farther, what were you doing before you sat down to watch YouTube? I look forward to your comments. Make sure to press like. Make sure to press subscribe if you're new to this channel. I don't think this channel really gets shown to people anymore, which is fine. But yeah, if you're new to the channel, subscribe. And then share this if you want. Share this with meditation communities or your friends who like meditation. Okay, guys. Talk to you soon.